what is the point in me trying to earn money in the game legitly with my own account when I can do something as simple as get someone else 15 fishing levels, and that's better than it beats any other money making.
It was like an addiction, man. I earned 13 billion GP.
About $7,000 USD.
But then I got to the point where I was racking up all this gold, and then I just thought, just sell it.
It's like you were to go from your minimum wage job at Macca's, just flipping burgers, making garbage money, to being some hotshot drug dealer that's making just insane money.
So in addition to hitting Discord servers, we want to be doing the same thing wherever services are being hosted or being advertised.
And somehow it got leaked to a moderator that I was in talks with you. I was actually banned from the server.
Okay, so today is going to be a very interesting video. So this guy reached out to me and he said, I'm an ex-worker from one of the biggest non-real-world trade service Discords. The ones that have all the high-level community players in them asking and making so much more money than the black market account trading services. No Venezuelans involved, just your regular, everyday RuneScape players. So if you're interested in making a video, I can give you unique insight into these Discords that are run by top page players. I was so excited for this. I'm not sure how in the loop you guys are, but these servers blew up in 2020, and just this past March, Jagex had to clarify their rules to outright ban them, and despite that, as you'll come to see, they are still very much operational. This is going to be a real deep dive, so go ahead, get your atmospheric diving suit on, slap the like button while you're suiting up, and by the way, if you want to materialize your love for old school RuneScape, check out our store, link in the description. We just wrapped up the King Black Dragon and Giant Moles. There's a few of those left on the store right now, and now we're working on Bandos pre-orders. Those will be out the door early November. Super excited about that one. And if you're thinking about a gift for Christmas, last year we sold it towards the end of October. We've got a little more made this year, but things go quick, so it's best not to wait. Thank you guys so much for the support. Link is in the description. Alright, so I've interviewed two people, David and Oliver. David did a written interview, but I had a nice Australian gentleman dub that for your listening pleasure. There's a lot of juice to get into, but first we have to get a background. So I asked David to explain for a complete layman, what is a skilling service and what specifically makes one a non-real-world trade skilling service?
So essentially it's just people offering to do skills, achievements, minigames, item gathering for Iron Man, that sort of thing for RuneScape GP. The main difference between these Discord servers and traditional black market services is how they hide their real-world trade activity. Some Discords, generally powered by Venezuelan or Egyptian workers, are quite open about their real-world trade practices. Plenty of these servers have channels that are dedicated to buying and selling GP. On the flip side is the ones that hide this fact. These premium service Discords openly market themselves as anti-real-world trade. For example, check out this server. The Read channel under point 3 specifically states that if you admit to buying or selling gold, we are going to ban you and we're going to keep your money.
See, this was a clever manipulation of the rules. Jagex always said that game items must only be exchanged for other items or services within the game. So by removing real-world trade from the equation, they were technically operating within game rules, and so nobody participating in these services could be banned. Of course, Jagex has now gone on to clarify this rule to outright ban these services, but we'll get to that. So I noticed you described the non-real-world trade server as also a premium server. What do you mean by that?
By premium, I mean better customer support, people that actually talk to you, normal English, and this is mainly due to the type of people training accounts in these services being from first world countries. I typically see services associated with lesser developed countries, poverty, the need to feed your family, bad working conditions and the like. While in these premium servers, you're going to find high-ranking players training other people's accounts to fund their own goals. But this all comes at a higher price.
Now, just to give you an idea of the price increase here, I did a video with a Venezuelan service back in 2019. They charged $1 an hour for agility, while this non-real-world trade server is charging 120 GP per experience point. So if we do some quick math here, the Sears agility course is 55k experience an hour if you have Candor and Hard Diary done. That means their hourly rate is 6.6 million GP, which on the black market is worth about $3. So the cost is about 200% more. Now you might be thinking that $3 an hour is still awful money, but what they'll do is train multiple accounts at once, and agility isn't what they consider a juicy job. There's certain jobs that people want done that are just worth more money. We're gonna get into that. So Oliver, I'm curious, like, what do people commonly come looking to have done? And like, who is your customer? What type of accounts are they?
The main ones at the moment currently are quests, but not like 1 or 2 quests. There's mainly like whatever quest point they're at, whether it be like 50 to 100, they want from that point to, I'd say, Barrow's Gloves. So it's at the moment, it's like a large bulk of quests, whether they be easy or hard, which I find that quite ironic with that quest helper on RuneLite, because that is what 99% of workers use when they do quests. The second most popular, I'd say, is getting to 77 rune crafting. That's probably the second most popular that I see. We charge, I think if you want 1 to 77 rune crafting, I think we charge 300 to 350 mil.
And who's buying these services?
You get quite a good mix of either it will be somebody's hardcore account, and I've been on hardcore accounts where they're probably mid to end game, and myself, I wouldn't trust anyone else on my own hardcore account if I was that level. But then I've been on accounts where their bank is close to 1 bill, and I've been on accounts like Iron Man accounts where they were better than my main account, like better than probably I could ever get in the game, and they just want something as simple as like the Western Hard diaries done or something like that.
But literally anything would pop up in the jobs channel, like limited builds or people wanting to pay more to get stuff done quicker and, stuff like that.
So a jobs channel, that's the side of the Discord that a normal person would never see. How does that distribution process work?
We have our own workers chat. Available jobs, staff or hire can only write in this channel, so to speak. And it would literally be the name of the Discord member, what they want and how much it is. And if they leave any tip, because they don't tax the tip. And our routine is, if you want the job, you just react to it and you get put in the channel with the customer. And then once payment's been made, they'll DM you the details and then it'll just kick off from there. We work off basically like how AFK is the thing you're doing. So if you're doing something like Nightmare Zone training for somebody, that's fairly AFK, but that's still, we could make 2 million gold an hour through AFK in one account. So you could have multiple of them AFK and just checking them every couple of minutes while you're just either playing your own account or like watching a movie or whatever, all the way up to like doing construction, like full on, can get you up to like 10 mil an hour. It beats any other money making, but the sought after jobs do get taken very quick.
Okay, so now that we kind of understand what's being offered, I want to understand the motivation, both from the worker side, the owner side. So David, can you kind of go first? Tell me a little bit about how you got involved in these skilling services.
So like I said, I'm a decently high level player. I'm around rank 300 overall. I got involved in the skilling account services early this year, probably around January. Before this, I'd taken a pretty long break from the game, so I had no grasp on what was going on within the high level community. Not long after I came back, I kept hearing things about services and jobs. Mainly the term jobbing is what I kept on hearing around high level community streams and discords. A longtime friend of mine who's probably going to finish this game as a top ranked 200 mil all player introduced me to this concept of jobbing. For example, if you want to fund 200 mil rune crafting using lava runners, that costs over 20 billion GP. Your everyday high-ranking player just doesn't have that sort of cash. They spend their time training skills, not killing bosses thousands of times, and account services are a way for them to quickly earn that GP needed for viables. 10 mil an hour playing someone else's account sounded like a dream. Before then, I'd just play multiple Rune Dragons accounts, which would net me like 6 mil an hour playing 4 different accounts with multiple levels of attention. So jobbing was much more lucrative and way more relaxed.
Now, you're one of these high-level players, so I wonder, can I ask you, like, what did you gain? Did you real-world trade any of the GP? Was it strictly for your skills? And, like, how much money did you make?
I won't lie, I've sold some gold. Not like an insane amount that would get someone through college or buy a car or anything like that. Just the excess that I thought that I might sell and put in the bank. The main reason for me to get into services was to fund my account. My goal in RuneScape for a while had been to get 200 mil in all skills, but I quit due to university and real life, just trying to stop being a fat nerd in a chair. Like I mentioned before, just rune crafting itself is 20 billion GP plus, let alone all the other viables like prayer and construction. You need some serious money, and playing a blood rune crafting ult is just not going to get you that sort of cash. I did services in the Discord server that I linked you in my Discord message. During the 1 month period I was there before it was temporarily shut down due to the account services post from Jagex, I earned 13 billion GP. I played multiple accounts, like 4 to 8 of them for 14 to 16 hours a day while I was stalling and procrastinating at university. It was like an addiction, man.
Just to put that into perspective, 13 bill goes for, even at wholesale value on the black market, for about $7,000 USD. You can see the incentive for people to real-world trade this GP that they're making, even though it's a non-real-world trade server. Also, don't forget here, this guy made this much money, but he was put in like 14 hours a day. So I asked him, like, what gain are most of the workers actually after?
They're after GP. I mean, the server I was in had a pretty decent social side to it as well, but I wouldn't really call this the main thing that people are after. I'm not really sure what they use their GP for. Most people are pretty cryptic about it. The very top-end skillers, though, I mean, it's pretty obvious what they're using their GP for. They'll bomb out runecrafting with runners in a few months and minus 20 bill, you know, it's kind of obvious. But many of the lesser-known, much less high-ranking players were in the server too. For many, if not most of them, I was pretty skeptical of where that GP was going.
And what about you, Oliver? How'd you get into it and what'd you gain from it?
Well, I started in the Discord I was in probably around this time last year, but I was in that Discord originally as a customer. I don't know, I had like a self-realization that I had ended up spending, I think, around 100 mil. And it's like, I don't feel like I've spent 100 mil, but then in my head was like, if somebody paid me 100 mil to do the stuff I've asked for, I'd definitely do it. I sold everything on my account, but then used it as a deposit and then just became a worker. At the beginning, I did it for my account personally because I mainly wanted to make the money back I spent, but then it became to a point where I was playing my account and it's like, what is the point in me trying to earn money in the game legitly with my own account when I can do something as simple as get someone else 15 fishing levels, and that's better than any money making method. That's better than basically TOB with like max efficiency. But then I got to the point where I wasn't enjoying the game as much as I was before. So I was racking up all this gold and then I just thought, just sell it. I could send you the screenshots, but it was, I think my first paycheck was, I think 150 quid. And then a couple of weeks later, I managed like another 100. And I think the most I've ever got is about 400 to 500 quid. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I've got like a full-time job Monday to Friday and like I've got other commitments other than the game. But if I was to solely do this, you could probably make a little bit more than minimum wage.
So one thing I've noticed in all these servers is that the workers have a rank, and the rank is usually some amount of GP, like 500 mil, a bill. Is that how the owners of the server profit, or?
So those ranks aren't bought. In premium account services, no one has to buy their rank. You can see ranks like 500 mil deposit. That is truly a deposit. Typically, it'd be a deposit of 500 mil to 1 bill, but if you want to do, for example, a PVM job for someone, like a solo challenge mode raid, and you'd like to use their max gear, you'd need to make a deposit for the full amount that you're liable for. How the admins and owners make the money is cuts from jobs. So skilling, questing, mini games, those services have a 15% cut in the server I did jobs in. PVM would have been a 10% cut, so I did PVM boosting jobs. Customers can earn loyalty discounts as well, earned by whatever amount they've spent. So if a customer has like a 5% discount roll, this would then come out of the admin's cut. So the admins then put all of the cuts into a giant pool and they'll split it amongst themselves. I'm not really sure how often they split, but I'd suspect it's probably around every 2 to 3 weeks or every week from the things that I picked up when in voice chats with the leadership team.
So it seems it was on about a weekly basis that they were doing these splits, and I know this because I was leaked spreadsheets containing profit and payout totals for most of 2020. Now, I trust this source, but obviously the service owners aren't going to confirm with me that these are legit, but they make sense, so let's go ahead and take a look at them. So these are the gross sales that the server made. And keep in mind, this is just one server. There's a couple big skilling service discords. Now, obviously most of this goes to the worker, but in March, 10 billion GP, May, 12 billion GP, June, 18 billion GP. I mean, if anything, this is a really good example of these servers' growth because these things really exploded towards the end of 2020, and that's mainly due to big advertisements that they had placed in other popular Discord servers. So check this out, in September it goes nuts, 56 billion GP, then in October 87 billion GP, and then over 100 billion GP in November. There's separate spreadsheets for each month too that actually breaks down the orders. It's just nuts, and there's like a ton of repeat buyers in here too. So if we add all of this up, it's more than, well, it's over $500 billion GP in a 12-month period. But what's more interesting than all of this is what the owners profited, because remember, they're taking a commission or a management fee from every single job. So this other spreadsheet, we can actually see the split that the owners got during the same period. So between March 2020 through most of March 2021, each of the 5 server owners walked away with an individual profit of 18 billion GP. So in total, they took 91 bill in commissions, which on 665 bill total sales, that's about a 13.7% profit for the owners. I think they actually take 15% of the sales, but I imagine things like advertising, potentially real-world trade bans, will be coming out of that cut. You know, I really thought that the owners would be making out like bandits here, but when you compare what they're making to what some of the workers are making, they really aren't. I mean, if you break down their individual profit monthly, it's about 1.5 billion GP, or $750 USD a month if they're real-world trading it. I'm not sure that they are. I suppose it's probably pretty passive income for them. From my understanding, basically all their duties, they pass down to like moderators in the server. Of course, too, there's like 5 people involved here, so if they didn't have so many owners in on the split, they would be making a lot more. The takeaway here, though, is that the popularity of these skilling services was growing and growing. I mean, $500 billion GP in less than 12 months that players spent to have other people train their accounts in just one skilling server. Jagex had to do something about it.
So in addition to hitting Discord servers, we want to be doing the same thing wherever services are being hosted or being advertised. We will report and flag and then follow up with our contacts and account managers at these places.
So, amidst tons of community pressure, Jagex finally released a statement this past March, essentially clarifying that non-real-world trade services are indeed against the rules. Obviously, it's hard for them to enforce this rule, so they said their plan is to actually target the source by working with Discord to have these servers shut down as they crop up. So I'm curious, fellas, what happened after this news post? Were these empty threats?
I laughed when I read that because basically nothing. Within the Discord itself, it was sort of a few customers were panicking because obviously statements come out from Jagex that this is now, like, if you've even touched it, you're going to get banned for it. So no one really left the Discord, but people were buying a lot less. There was a lot less jobs on the job page. But if anything, nothing became of it. It faded.
What about like ban rates on individual accounts? Like, have they increased?
They're literally the same. I've never seen anyone get banned for account services specifically. Some dudes use sketchy plugins or auto hotkeys and people do get banned, but that has nothing to do with being account services on the account.
So certainly sounds like Jagex hasn't been keeping up with this, and in fact while making this video I've been lurking around 6 of these servers for over a month now, and I can tell you they are all fully operational. So David, I'm curious, do you have a conclusion to all of this?
So here are my general thoughts on this. I'm not trying to make the high-level community look like a bad group of people. You have to do what you have to do to compete. When people around you on the leaderboard are making so much more money than you, that can really affect your finishing ranked. I know of only a few people that haven't participated in account services in one way or the other. My main problem with the situation is the leaderships from the servers. I started speaking my mind within the server, asking really critical questions about the leadership, what their motives were, what their actions were, where the GP goes, and, you know, most are pretty much nobodies. Where does their GP go? We're talking tens of billions of gold here, per admin. They get extremely defensive and aggressive when you question them about any of this. And they have this sort of aura of, I'm invincible because they earn a lot of GP, but they don't really seem to spend any of it. And lastly, I think that Jagex just needs to be made aware of all of this. Aware that these things are going on just as much now as they were before their account services statement. I mean, DMing their staff on Twitter doesn't do anything. They said on the Q&A that they would be actively working with Discord to do takedowns of these servers, but from everything I've seen, not a single server has been taken down. Not a premium server, not a Veni server, nothing. None of them. No one is feeling the heat. I've shown you the message. As you can see here, there's just no way of getting to them. A server with 5,000 members has a lot more trust from new people than those that join a fresh server that has no members. Their operations will slow down considerably, if not completely, when these servers get actively shut down.
So there you have it. I mean, it's a hard thing to enforce. That's what Jagex said in their news post, but from everything we've heard here, they haven't been able to do anything about it. And while making this video, Group Iron Man was released, and I see that these servers are now capitalizing on that. But I hope you enjoyed this rare glimpse into the internal operations of these services. The amount of GP flowing through them is astronomical. I guess it's not too surprising when you consider that there's literally thousands of members in some of these servers. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. We're almost at 90,000. And if you're doing something neat or nefarious in RuneScape and you want to come on and do an interview with me, join my Discord, link in the description. Check out the Contact Me channel, I would love to work with you. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I'll catch you in the next one.